أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Lesson number 277, Surah Al-Waqiah, ayah number 1 to 40. Surah Al-Waqiah is a Makki surah, and it has only 96 verses, which again are very short, as is the case with all of these Makki surahs. In this surah, the people have been divided into three groups. We will learn about the three groups of people. And this division, that will take place in the hereafter, on the Day of Judgment. Generally, we think it's only two groups, the people of Jannah and the people of Hellfire. But we see that in this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the two groups of the people of Jannah. That even they are of different levels. One level is of those who are at the top, the sabiqun, the muqarrabun. And the other is of those who are Ashabul Maymana. And these are the only three groups in which people will be divided on the Day of Judgment. Meaning there is no fourth group. So it's only one of these three groups that a person would be in on the Day of Judgment. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. إِذَا وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةِ, when the occurrence occurs. لَيْسَ لِوَقَعَتِهَا كَاذِبَةٌ, there is at its occurrence no denial. خَافِضَةٌ رَافِعَةٌ, it will bring down some and raise up others. When إِذَا رُجَّتِ الْأَرْضُ رَجًّا, when the earth will be completely crumbled, when it will be finished, when it will be shaken with a convulsion. And the mountains, وَبُسَّتِ الْجِبَالُ بَسَّا, and the mountains are broken down, crumbling completely. إِذَا وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةِ, إِذَا, over here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us about an incident that will occur. When it will occur, then what will happen? Many great things will happen. When this incident is going to occur, then what's going to happen? Many great things are going to occur. Many great events are going to take place. Amongst them is the destruction of the earth. Amongst them is the destruction of the mountains and everything else that is on the earth. And amongst them is the division of mankind into three groups of people. Into three groups. So, what is this event? إِذَا وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةِ, what is this great occurrence which will cause many great things to occur? This is the Day of Judgment. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls it Al-Waqi'ah. Waqi'ah is from the root letters Waw, Qaf, Ain. Waqa'a literally means to fall down. And from that the word is also used for something occurring, something taking place. Remember that when something falls down from a height, automatically what happens? It draws attention to itself. Because as it falls down, there's a sound that is created, and people, their attention is directed towards it instantly. And from this, waqi'ah is also used for an incident. Something that has occurred. Because when something occurs, when something happens, when an incident takes place, then even that draws everyone's attention. And the greater the incident, the greater the attention of people. The greater the impact of that incident as well. So this waqi'ah, this incident, this occurrence, which occurrence is it? It is the Day of Judgment. It is the imminent event. And why is it described as waqi'ah? Because it will definitely occur. There is no doubt about it. It's imminent, it will definitely take place, and it's going to take place very soon as well. And remember that Al-Waqi'ah is one of the names of the Day of Judgment. Just like there are many other names of the Day of Judgment, such as Yawmul Hasra, Yawmul Hisab, Azifa, Yawm al-Tanad, Yawm al-Din, Yawm al-Talaq, the day of meeting, right? As-Sa'ah, Yawm al-Tanadi, right? And it's also known as An-Nushur. It's also described as As-Sakha, At-Tamma. There are many names of the Day of Judgment. So over here, Al-Waqi'ah is also one of the names of the Day of Judgment. إِذَا وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةِ when that incident, when that great event, when it occurs, لَيْسَ لِوَقَعَتِهَا كَاذِبَةٌ there is at its occurrence no denial. لِوَقَعَتِهَا وَقَعَةٌ Waqa'ah is a masdar. And what does it mean? Occurrence. When something occurs. So for the occurrence of the Day of Judgment, Allah says there is no kadhibah. Who is kadhibah? This is ism fa'il, isn't it so? One that lies. One that is untruthful. So لَيْسَ لِوَقَعَتِهَا كَاذِبَةٌ Kadhibah is understood in two ways over here. First of all, nafsun kadhibah. Meaning there is no soul that can lie about it. Meaning there is no soul that can deny it. When? When this incident occurs. In the dunya, there are many people who deny the coming of the Day of Judgment. They don't believe in it. They completely reject it. However, when it occurs, then no one can deny it. No one can reject it. And kadhibah is also understood as a masdar, giving the meaning of kadhib. Meaning, for its occurrence, there is no lie. In other words, it is completely true. It will definitely happen. In Surah Al-Hajj, ayah 7, وَأَنَّ السَّاعَةَ آتِيَةٌ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهَا In Surah Al-Nisa, ayah 87, لَيَجْمَعَنَّكُمْ إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ In Surah Ali Imran, ayah 9, رَبَّنَا إِنَّكَ جَامِعُ النَّاسِ لِيَوْمٍ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ So many times the Day of Judgment, how is it described? How is it described? لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ There is no doubt about it. So لَيْسَ لِوَقَعَتِهَا كَاذِبَةٌ There is about its occurrence no denial, no lie, meaning it is absolutely true, it will definitely take place, and when it takes place, then no one can reject it. Nothing can avert it. No one can avoid it. Because once the Day of Judgment begins, can anyone avoid it? No. Can any power, can any force avert it? Nothing can. So there is no lie about the news of its occurrence, and when it occurs, no one can reject it, no one can avert it either. And remember that belief in the hereafter, belief in the Day of Judgment is one of the fundamental pillars of Eman. When Jibreel asked the Prophet ﷺ about what Eman is, the Prophet ﷺ told him about the 6 pillars of Eman. Amongst them is belief in the hereafter, Al-Akhirah, in Yawm Al-Hisab. So, لَيْسَ لِوَقَعَتِهَا كَاذِبَةٌ People can reject it now. But if they reject it, then is their Eman acceptable? It's not acceptable. And on that day, they cannot reject it either. لَيْسَ لِوَقَعَتِهَا كَاذِبَةٌ خَافِضَةٌ It will bring down. رَافِعَةٌ And raise up. خَافِضَةٌ خَافَضَةٌ خَفْض Khafd is to bring something down, or to be down. The word is understood in two ways, lazim as well as mutaaddi. So khafida is one that is low, and secondly, one that brings low. And this is in both ways, in the tangible sense as well as in the intangible sense. Tangible sense, to physically be low, physically bring down. In the intangible sense, that in rank, in martaba, in manzila, in status, one is low or one that brings low. So the Day of Judgment, the waqi'ah, how does Allah describe it? Khafida. And also rafi'ah. What does rafi'ah mean? Rafi'ah, that which is high, or that which raises up high. Because it's from raf', again lazim as well as mutaaddi. And this is again both tangible as well as intangible. So what does it mean by this? That the Day of Judgment is khafidatul rafi'ah. First of all, khafidatun rafi'atun, meaning the Day of Judgment, إِذَا وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةِ how will it begin? How will it occur? With the blowing of the trumpet. And it is said that the blowing of the trumpet, the sound initially will be khafidah, low, and then eventually it will be rafi'ah. It will be increased, it will be very, very high, such that no one will be able to ignore it. So the blowing of the trumpet, initially khafidah and then rafi'ah. And it will only increase until the entire resurrection takes place. Khafidatul rafi'ah. And secondly, khafidatul rafi'ah is understood as that the waqi'ah, that incident which will occur, it will cause some people to khafidah and it will cause some people to rafi'ah. Some people it will bring down and others it will raise up. Some people will be humiliated on that day and other people will be honored and elevated on that day. So in other words, that day is going to manifest the exaltation of some and the humiliation of others. In this dunya, a person's true status, is it visible? No. Because many times it is hidden behind what? Wealth. Behind other things. However, on the day of judgment, the standards of disgrace and honor, they will change, they will be different. In this dunya, there are many people, many nations, many individuals who hold a very high, noble rank. They're respectable, they're honored, they're never disobeyed. However, on that day, their rank of honor will be taken away from them, just by the blowing of the trumpet. إِذَا وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةُ, only once, that's it, and their honor, everything will be gone. That occurrence will bring them down. It will be enough to disgrace them. Similarly, there are others in this dunya who are not valued, who are not given a high position, who are not honored, whereas in reality, what do they deserve? Honor. So on that day, what's going to happen? Rafi'ah, it's going to raise those up. It's going to raise those people up. It's going to elevate them. Why? Because that day, on the day of judgment, people will be exalted and people will be abased based on their true status in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And who is it that will have a high rank? It is those who have Eman, those who have amal. And who is it that will have a low status, who will be brought low, who will be disgraced? It is those who do kufr, those who don't have Eman. What do we learn about the munafiqeen? إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِي الدَّرْكِ الْأَسْفَلِ مِنَ النَّارِ. And we learned that, for example, the munafiqeen at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, how were they in their physical bodies? We learned that تُعْجِبُكَ أَجْسَامُهُم, when you look at them, their bodies will really impress you. Please stop talking. No talking in class right now. What did I just say? Did you not miss something important? Know this for sure, that when the class is going on, nothing else is important. Nothing else. And alhamdulillah, you have studied a lot of the Qur'an, and now such attention is expected from you, that you don't get distracted by little things. So, please, there are only a few days left. Only a few days, only a few juz, only a few surahs. The more respect you will have, the more you will gain. So be very, very careful. So we see over here that khafidatul rafi'ah, on the day of judgment, who will be humiliated? Those who don't have Eman. Those who do kufr, those who have nifaq. So, إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِي الدَّرْكِ الْأَسْفَلِ مِنَ النَّارِ. And in the dunya, how are they? Very impressive in their speech, very impressive in their physical being. That if you look at them, you'll be impressed by their beauty, by the strength of their body, by the wealth that they have amassed. However, on the day of judgment, all of that will be taken away. خَافِضَةُ الرَّافِعَةِ. And who will be exalted on that day? It is the believers. In Surah Al-Mutaffifin, ayah 34-35, we learn, فَالْيَوْمَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنَ الْكُفَّارِ يَضْحَكُونَ عَلَى الْأَرَائِكِ يَنْظُرُونَ. That on that day, the believers will be laughing at the disbelievers. In the dunya, it was different. The believers were mocked at, they were laughed at. So the tables will turn on that day. On adorned couches, they'll be observing. So, now, this is something very serious. Because the honor of this dunya is not real honor. Isn't it so? Similarly, the disgrace of this dunya is also not real disgrace. If a person is humiliated in this dunya, but on that day he has some value, he has succeeded. And if a person is honored in this dunya, but on that day he is humiliated, he has failed. Isn't it so? This is why we make dua that, oh Allah, save us from the khizy of dunya wa adhab al-akhirah. Right? That protect us against the humiliation of this world and the punishment of the hereafter. رَبَّنَا إِنَّكَ مَن تُدْخِلِ النَّارَ فَقَدْ أَخْزَيْتَهُ. Whoever is admitted into the fire, he is humiliated. Why? Because the humiliation of that day is the greatest humiliation. We are so concerned about our image, about our honor. Isn't it so? This is something so major, so important. Because if a person is granted honor that day, he is successful. And if a person is humiliated that day, that's it. He is doomed, he is ruined, he's finished. He's a big loser. So now the question is, what is it that brings honor to a person in the sight of Allah? Because if a person is honorable in the sight of Allah, only then he'll be honorable on the Day of Judgment. Isn't it? And what is it that brings humiliation to a person in the sight of Allah? Because if a person is humiliated in the sight of Allah, he'll be humiliated on the Day of Judgment. So, what is it that brings honor to a person in the sight of Allah? What is it? It's Eman. Along with Eman, what else? Amal Salih. What else? Even ilm. Knowledge. Such knowledge that a person acts on, that a person lives by, that a person shares with others as well, that a person spreads. In Surah Al-Mujadilah, ayah 11, Allah says, يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ دَرَجَاتٍ. That Allah will raise in ranks high. Who? Those people who believe among you, and those people who have been given knowledge. So Ahlul Eman and Ahlul Ilm, Ahlul Eman and Ahlul Ilm, they will be honored on that day. Rafi'ah. The Day of Judgment is going to elevate them. It's going to exalt them. And it's quite possible that they're not exalted in the dunya. Nobody has any respect for them. However, on that day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will honor them. Similarly, what else is it that exalts a person in the sight of Allah? Who is the most noble person in the sight of Allah? Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. Taqwa. Taqwa is also one of those deeds that raises a person's level in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Surah Al-Isra, ayah 21, Allah says, وَلَلْآخِرَةُ أَكْبَرُ دَرَجَاتٍ وَأَكْبَرُ تَفْضِيلًا. The hereafter is greater in degrees of difference and greater in distinction. The distinction of this dunya, okay, it's great. But the distinction of the hereafter, that is what really matters. So what is it that really matters? Iman, amal, ilm, taqwa. All of these qualities, noble qualities, we must strive to develop within ourselves, because only if we have them, then we have some honor. And if we don't have honor that day, then we're ruined. On the other hand, what are those deeds that lower a person's rank in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Kufr. What else? Nifaq. What else? Okay, hypocrisy, nifaq, same thing. What else? Arrogance, pride. This is what humiliates a person in the sight of Allah. Iblis, when he tried to be arrogant, when he tried to be big, what happened? Was he humiliated? Of course. We learn in Surah Al-A'raf, ayah 13, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Iblis, قَالَ فَاهْبِطْ مِنْهَا فَمَا يَكُونُ لَكَ أَن تَتَكَبَّرَ فِيهَا فَخْرُجْ إِنَّكَ مِنَ الصَّاغِرِينَ. That Allah said to Iblis, descend from paradise, for it is not allowed for you to be arrogant over here. So get out. Indeed, you are of those who are debased. So a person who tries to be arrogant, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala humiliates him. We learn from a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, the arrogant people will be gathered on the Day of Judgment in the form of small ants. Those who consider themselves to be very mighty, very great, how will they be on the Day of Judgment? Small ants. humiliation will surround them from everywhere. Humiliation will surround them from everywhere. Then we also learned that khafida, it will bring them down, it will bring them low, the arrogant people, to the point that they will be trampled under the feet of others. Just imagine. Trampled under the feet of others, because they're like ants on the Day of Judgment. So people will be trampling them under their feet. So khafidatul rafi'ah. Also it has been said with regards to khafida, that on that day, on the Day of Judgment, anyone that is high will be brought down, will be brought low. This is in the tangible sense as well as intangible sense. Why? So that only the greatness and the glory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is visible. إِذَا وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةِ, when that day will occur, what's going to happen? Everything will be brought down. Why? So that only the glory, the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is visible. Because He is Maliki Yawmiddin, the master of the Day of Judgment. Allah will ask, لِمَنِ الْمُلْكُ الْيَوْمِ, to whom belongs mulk today? No one will reply. And Allah Himself will say, لِلَّهِ الْوَاحِدِ الْقَهَّارِ, it is only for Allah, the one, the Qahhar. And this is why we see that even the mountains that are tall, huge, what will happen to them? They'll be brought down. The buildings that are huge, tall, that people are proud of, what will happen to them? Brought down. The stars that are up in the sky, what will happen to them? The sun, the moon, everything, what's going to happen to it? Finished. يَوْمَ تَمُورُ السَّمَاءُ مَوْرًا وَتَسِيرُ الْجِبَالُ سَيْرًا وَتَكُونُ الْجِبَالُ كَالْعِهْنِ الْمَنْفُوشِ. Finished. إِذَا السَّمَاءُ انْفَطَرَتْ وَإِذَا الْكَوَاكِبُ انْتَثَرَتْ. Everything will be brought down so that the glory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone is manifest. Now imagine if this is the case with the sun, the moon, the stars, the mountains, what will happen to the people? Just imagine, what are people compared to the mountains? So small, so tiny. So those who think of themselves as very mighty, obviously they will be humiliated on that day. إِذَا رُجَّتِ الْأَرْضُ رَجَّا, when the earth is shaken with convulsion. إِذَا رُجَّتِ الْأَرْضُ رَجَّا, when the earth is shaken up completely. Rujjat, from the root letters, Ra, Jim, Jim. And rujjat is when something is shaken completely. And basically this word is used for the initial stage of an earthquake. When something starts to shake, when something begins to rumble, when something is moved, is shaken. So the entire earth, rujjatil ardu, and then rajja, raj is masdar. Why is this said? To give yaqeen. That don't doubt this, the earth will definitely be shaken up in its entirety. Over all of its surface, through all of its depths. The entire earth, from all of its surface, all the way deep down, the entire earth will be shaken up, from inside out. Why? Why is it so? Why is it so that the earth will be shaken up? So that whatever is on it is brought to the ground. Whatever is on it is finished. Whatever mountains, whatever buildings, whatever things that people have constructed, anything that is on the earth is finished. It's brought down so that the earth becomes a flat surface. And so that those who are alive on it may die. And so that those who are dead in it may come out. إِذَا رُجَّتِ الْأَرْضُ رَجَّا. In Surah Al-Zalzalah, we learn, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا, completely shaken up. And as a result, وَبُسَّتِ الْجِبَالُ بَسَّا, and the mountains are broken down, crumbling. Bussat, ba sin. Bas is to mix something up. To mix ingredients together, and then crumble them, powder them, pound them together so that they are powdered. They're turned into debris. Like for example, you take a whole lot of different ingredients, you put them in the food processor, and then you completely grind them. This is what bas is. وَبُسَّتِ الْجِبَالُ بَسَّا, the mountains, with all of the huge rocks in them, and the many trees on them, and all of the soil that is on them, and all of the creatures that live on them. All of them, بُسَّتِ الْجِبَالُ بَسًّا, as if put in a food processor and finished, crumbled to powder. وَبُسَّتِ الْجِبَالُ بَسًّا. Tiny pieces, turning into debris, all of the mountains, not even leaving one dune. And bussat, bas, the word is also used for when a herd of sheep is being restrained. When a herd of animals is being led somewhere and at the same time they're being restrained. That as soon as a sheep strays to the right, bas, meaning come and join the rest of the sheep. So what does it show? That the mountains will be all set in motion. All of them will be set into motion. In Surah Al-Waqiah, ayah 14, we learn, وَحُمِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ وَالْجِبَالُ فَدُّكَّتَا دَكَّةً وَاحِدَةً. And the earth and the mountains are lifted. They'll be picked up and leveled with one blow. دَكَّةً وَاحِدَةً. Just imagine the entire earth and all of the mountains. Finished. Shaken up, turned into debris, finished completely. وَحُمِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ وَالْجِبَالُ فَدُكَّتَا دَكَّةً وَاحِدَةً. فَكَانَتْ هَبَاءً مُنْبَثًّا. And they will become dust that is dispersing. All of the mountains, what will happen to them? They will turn into haba. What is haba? Fine dust particles that you see floating in the air. Fine dust particles. You see them floating in sunlight. So فَكَانَتْ هَبَاء. Mountains that are huge, massive, what will happen to them? They will turn into dust particles. And dust particles that are mumbassa, scattered. So that there is no sign of any mountain. The mountains, which are so solid, which are so firm today, and it's impossible for people to break them, to cut through them. Dynamites are used, and still, sometimes it is of no use, it is of no effect. These mountains will be removed from their places, demolished and blown off of their bases. And what will happen to them? كَالْعِهْنِ الْمَنْفُوشِ. They will be like carded wool on that day. In Surah Taha, ayah 105, 106, we learn, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْجِبَالِ فَقُلْ يَنْسِفُهَا رَبِّي نَسْفًا. They ask you about the mountains. Tell them, my Lord will blow them away with a blast. He will blow them all away with just one blast. فَيَذَرُهَا. So He will leave the earth قَاعًا صَفْصَفًا, a level that is plain. If you look over here in these ayat, first of all, the earth is mentioned, and then the mountains are mentioned. What about the earth has been mentioned? The earthquake, the convulsion. And what about the mountains has been mentioned? They're breaking down. So the earth will be shaken up, as a result of which the mountains will crumble, and when they will crumble, what will be left on the earth? If the mountains are finished, what will be left? Nothing. So the earth will be left plain and barren, a level plain. وَكُنْتُمْ. And you will become, meaning all people will become, أَزْوَاجًا. 3 groups, 3 categories, 3 kinds. The word azwaj is a plural of zawj. And remember zawj, it means pair, and it also means type, kind. وَآخَرُ مِنْ شَكْلِهِ أَزْوَاجٍ. So وَكُنْتُمْ أَزْوَاجًا. All of you people will be in groups. How many groups? 3. So the entire mankind into 3 categories. فَأَصْحَابُ الْمَيْمَنَةِ. So the companions of the right. مَا أَصْحَابُ الْمَيْمَنَةِ. What are the companions of the right? وَأَصْحَابُ الْمَشْأَمَةِ. مَا أَصْحَابُ الْمَشْأَمَةِ. And the companions of the left. What are the companions of the left? وَالسَّابِقُونَ السَّابِقُونَ. And the forerunners, they will be ahead that day as well. So what are the 3 groups? Of Ashabul Maymana. Secondly, Ashabul Mash'amah. And thirdly, As-Sabiqun. 3 groups, 3 azwaj. Azwajan, Salatha. Who are Ashabul Maymana? Maymana is from the root letters Ya, Mim, Noon. From the word Yameen. What does Yameen mean? Right, the right hand, right side, the right wing. So the people of the right, who are the people of the right? This has been interpreted in a number of ways. First of all, it is said that, based on a hadith, that when the Prophet ﷺ, when he went on the night journey, and he reached the first heaven, the Prophet ﷺ, he said that the gate was opened and we went over the nearest heaven, and there we saw a man sitting with some people on his right and some on his left. There was a man with some people on his right and some people on his left. When he looked towards those on his right, he would laugh. And when he would look towards those on his left, he would weep. So, the Prophet ﷺ asked Jibreel, who is this? And why is he doing this? So, Jibreel ﷺ said to him that this is Adam. When he looks at the people of the right, they are those of his dhurriyyah who will go to Jannah. And those on his left, who are they? Those of his dhurriyyah who will go to hellfire. So when he sees those of his children who will go to Jannah, he laughs. And when he sees those of his children who will go to hellfire, he weeps. So who are Ashabul Maymanah? Those who were on the right of Adam alayhi salam. This is reported in Bukhari. Secondly, it has also been said that Ashabul Maymanah are those who will be given their record of deeds in their right hand. Because we learn from the Qur'an that people will be given their records in their hands. The one who is given his record in the right, he will be successful. And the one who is given his record in the left, he is a failure. So Ashabul Maymanah, those who are given their record in their right hand. Thirdly, it is also said that it is those who will be taken to Jannah with their right hands, meaning they'll be led with their right hands. You know, like when you're taking somebody somewhere, you're leading them, you're holding their hand. So they'll be led to Jannah, being led by their right hands. Others have said that they'll be on the right side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the Day of Judgment. Now with regards to the word Maymanah, it has also been said the word Maymanah is from Yuman. Not Yamin, but Yuman, which is barakah, good luck, to be fortunate. So Ashabul Maymanah, who are they? Lucky people, fortunate ones. How are they fortunate ones? Because they will go to Jannah. If you notice over here, the right hand, the right side, and the lucky ones, the fortunate ones, what does it show? What does it show? The goodness of the right side. Isn't it? This is why the Prophet ﷺ used his right hand for what kind of actions? Good actions, noble deeds. Good deeds, clean actions. Such as eating, right? Such as writing. I mean, obviously the Prophet ﷺ did not write. However, all the noble actions, how did he perform them? With which hand? With the right hand. Similarly, when giving something, when taking something, all of this was done with the right hand. So, Ashabul Maymanati, Ma Ashabul Maymanah. What are the companions of the right side? If you notice, this Ma Ashabul Maymanah, what does this question mean? Ma. This is understood in two ways. First of all, this is literally a question. A question is being asked, what are these people? Who are these people? What did they do? Why will they be on the right? What will they have? What reward will they get? What will they experience? This is a question that is being asked. Why? To raise our attention. That pay attention. Who are the people on the right? Who are they? Do you know them? Secondly, this istifham is also understood as for the purpose of ta'ajjub, for the purpose of tafkhim, to show amazement, to show the greatness of what's going to happen to them. Amazing. Ma ashabul maymanah. On the other hand, wa ashabul mash'amati, ma ashabul mash'amah. And the companions of the left. What are the companions of the left? Mash'amah. This is from the root letters Sheen, Hamza, Mim. Mash'amah is understood to be derived from the word shuma. Yumna is right hand, okay? Yusra is left hand, okay? And the Arabs used shuma for which one? Yusra, for the left hand. Okay? So the Arabs used the word shuma for which hand? The left hand, for the yusra. And if you think about it, Yaman, Yumna. What is that? Right. And Yuman is what comes from the right. On the other hand, Shu'um is what comes from the left. From this is Yemen, and from this is Sham. Interesting point, huh? From this is Yemen, and from this is Sham as well. Why? Because Yemen was that on the right of the Kaaba, and Sham on the left of the Kaaba. You understand? So Yemen, what comes from the right, and Shu'um, what comes from the left. So Ashabul Mash'ama, who are they? People of the left. What does it mean by the people of the left? Exact opposite of the people of the right hand. So those on the left side of Adam a.s. Those who will be given their records in their left hands. Those who will be taken to hellfire with their left. Those on the left side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the Day of Judgment. Wa ashabul mash'ama. And secondly, mash'ama is also understood from the word shu'um, which is used for calamity, misfortune, ill luck. So unlucky ones. Why will they be unlucky? Because they'll be thrown in hellfire. This is why Allah says, Ma ashabul mash'ama. What are the companions of the left? Who are they? This istifham is for ta'ajjub, and also to express contempt for their status because of their entry into hellfire. How unfortunate are they? How awful for them. Ma ashabul mash'ama. In Surah Al-Waqiah, ayah 25 to 29, we learn, وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِشِمَالِهِ فَيَقُولُ يَا لَيْتَنِي لَمْ أُوتَ كِتَابِيَهْ وَلَمْ أَدْرِ مَا حِسَابِيَهْ يَا لَيْتَهَا كَانَتِ الْقَاضِيَةِ مَا أَغْنَى عَنِّي مَالِيَهْ هَلَكَ عَنِّي سُلْطَانِيَهْ. This is who? The people of the left.